Hi, this is Elizabeth Veely with the Powerful Women Off the Record podcast. And I have been thinking about my conversation with Caroline Organ. Caroline is the Chief Human Resources Officer from BS&P CPAs and Consultants. And I've had the benefit of seeing Caroline in action, live and in person. And that's how I got to know Caroline. And, when there's just somebody in the building or you run into, at the cafeteria, like we all worked in this really amazing building and community that this amazing developer had built out. And it's amazing how like attracts like, because so many of the tenants ended up just being really great people and really great to know. And, so I was in the same building with Caroline, and I got to interact with her, and I got to do, some work with her firm. And, I always felt like Caroline stood out, and in a lot of different ways, but she just radiated that energy, that vibe, a really good person, really working hard, giving her all. And and I remember after I met her, and like I mentioned, she works in a CPA firm, and I was thinking, wow, I really hope they find a way to hold on to her. And we're going on a long time ago, because she's fantastic. And I was like, they're never going to be able to get someone as good as her. And, I also spent some time in staffing. So like when I see talent, like, I know it. And look at this, 18 years later, same firm, and, just big kudos to her and the firm, because that is really hard for both parties, right? It's a partnership, and for Caroline to find her way throughout her career to keep rocking it, basically, right? To just being a star performer no matter what was going on in life, and the firm for supporting her through her different life cycles and journey. And it just says so much about both parties when that can happen. And and people don't often realize, not only is it just great to do that, right? And to be a company that values family and values the people within the firm and their life cycles. Because, let's just stop there, right? So that's huge. And we need more of that, right? And that is one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast, is I really want to help power up the people that are in leadership in organizations that have a say in these kind of things. And for me specifically, I think my mission is with women and female leaders, that they get into a position of power where they can remember their journey and make that space work for the women coming up behind them. And so that's my whole goal here. And because number one, the work-life balance, it has to be a partnership both ways. And the prioritization of family, like I'm thinking about a million different things here right now, but let's start with that one. The prioritization of family is so important for us as a society, and also where I think things started getting, off the rails a little bit, is that maybe that wasn't prioritized enough. And for any great society, it takes raising children well so that they grow into being, great people that contribute to the community, that help with innovation, and that's how a society develops and grows. And we should support each other in that, right? And kids are little for such a short amount of time. I know sometimes it feels like it's going on a long time, but it's a blink of an eye. Everyone that says that, it's true. So if you're a mom right now, I'm speaking to you. And it really is the blink of an eye. So enjoy every single moment, because it's just a short time that they're little. And then what's beautiful is you have the next phase of having relationship with your kids as adults. But that's actually probably going to be a longer time frame than when you get to experience their journey and be their guide when they're young. So enjoy every moment. And like Caroline said, your priorities will shift. It's probably not going to be about the clean car anymore, right? It's about the conversations that were held in that car, and listening to music together and singing together and talking about what's going on in the world. And I had some of the best moments with my 3 kids in a car, whether it was a road trip or it was just bringing them back and forth from school or daycare. And I was blessed also to either have a firm that supported me in that journey, or eventually I went out on my own to make sure that, I could keep that. But don't underestimate the power of those conversations and what you learn about your children in a car. So I wanted to be their driver. I wanted to be that person, hearing all that and knowing them, in those moments. So but yes, my car has never been clean since, really, honestly. So I'm still working through that, right? I don't have a really good reason to not have a clean car anymore, and I gotta break that down. So, maybe the house doesn't get clean. Maybe something has to shift, but so that you can be present when you have your kids. And it, like I said, it's gonna whip right by. So going back to the balance of a company, learning the wisdom of making it work for people. And let's start off with Caroline's a star performer, right? So she's not phoning in it. She's not an average performer. She's really good at what she does. And those people you should bend over backwards to keep. Turnover is so expensive, and people really underestimate that. Like, they might run the cost of what happens if they have to have a little more flexibility or work from home or set somebody up at home so that they can work productively remotely, whatever the costs are running through someone's mind. And really, I hope we're growing out of this. I hope the pandemic taught us something about all of this, that in many, many, many organizations, industries, and careers, you can be very productive when set up properly at home. But going back to the cost of turnover, it's estimated that the cost of turnover is about 50% of a person's salary, all the way up to 2 times a person's salary, depending on how long they've been there and how much corporate knowledge they have. And the whole startup and ramp up time of a new person, and all the relationships that have to shift. And so I am still a big proponent of loyalty on both ends. I know we went through a phase where, maybe it's not a phase, maybe I'm just starting to sound old, but where we thought it was okay to jump around, every 3 to 4 years. But I still really value people that found a way to stay within the firm, and play the long game, because I think it's harder than ever to do that. And so something went right between that person and the firm, and to make that happen. And you become an outlier, right? And that's one of the reasons I'm so glad Caroline mentioned it. Caroline's young, and 18 years at the same firm is really amazing. So I guess I just really want to keep shouting out to both her and the firm, great job on all fronts, and for being a role model for other firms to do the same thing. So Caroline talked about how becoming a mom completely changes you. And, sometimes that just sounds like, well, of course it does. But you really don't get it until you have your first child. And so much just shifts, and that's why, even when a member of my team would get pregnant, and go off on maternity leave, I was always very open with them, and I didn't know what would happen after the baby came, because you now step into a different world and you often don't see it coming. And they just change you and your priorities change, and for the better. For me, I'll speak for myself. And, often your kids can become your true north for a while, where, maybe you were overperforming, maybe you were a perfectionist, you were really hard on yourself, maybe you weren't taking care of yourself. It was just grind, grind, grind. And it is really hard to keep that up when you have this amazing little baby counting on you, wanting to be near you. And I really want to power up all the people that are trying to sort out longer maternity leaves for women in the US. And I know many of the other countries have much longer maternity leaves. And I mean, come on, let's face it, a little baby's born, and then you only get a few weeks with them before everything has to shift right back as if nothing happened. And it's not only is it not realistic, it's not healthy for the mom. It takes a long time for your body to recover on every possible level. And I know we're still wrapping our head around the female body, and I'm really hoping we have much greater strides in that front. Again, if we can get more women in STEM positions and more funding for research around women's health, all of this would help. But it just let's start with the mom, right? It takes a while for the body to reset, and then the baby, right? It's all about, again, as a society, if we want to have an advanced society, you have to take care of the babies when they're very young, throughout their whole life. But it's so critical, those first couple years, that the baby feels safe and the parents are around. And so strengthening the family structure in whatever way we can, in whatever position you're at. I love how Caroline said, there's some people at work that have her back, and a lot of them are also moms. And yes, right? Yes, that's how it should be. It should be, we're doing this together. We're going to help each other. I get how hard it is for you. It's been hard for me, and I'll be there for you, right? And that's exactly the attitude we all have to take as women. And you see some people who are like, well, I had it tough, so everyone else can have it tough. Enough with that, right? Just enough with that. That is such an unhealthy attitude for the person that's thinking like that, as well as for the person they're directing at it. And what's funny is, I had some tough people in my life. I had a huge support system, so I'm just going to start there. So I am not complaining in any way. I had a really great support system with my mom and my aunt and neighbors and nieces that really stepped up and helped me with my kids. But there were some people that, one thing is, I remember somebody saying something like, you made your bed, lie in it, when there were some challenges going on with, juggling the kids and the career. And that blew my mind. And but I just always committed to, I was never going to be like that. It was so obvious to me, the importance of a strong family structure, and for the whole world to do what you had to do to make that happen, so that we could just evolve as a species, right? I don't know about you, but sometimes it's just so obvious to me. And it's like, wait, when is the world going to catch up to figuring that out? So finding your village, you may have to look a little bit. Caroline mentioned different mom groups, PTA. I had found a group, Mother of Twins, whatever it might be, neighbors, family, the daycare you go to, whatever it might be. It's just really great if you can find your village. And if you're somebody that's in the perimeter of a woman raising a family, and also working and juggling it all, if you could be that village for them, if you can be what they lean on, amazing, right? And thank you for doing that, because it is so important that we stick together and support each other, because if not, it's not going to work for women. And I know a lot of women leave the workforce because, like Caroline said, she never felt like she had to choose. Such power in that, right? She never felt like her firm made her choose between being a great mom and taking care of her family and being great at what she does in her job. And that was such a powerful statement, because, I think there's many times women do have to choose. And like Caroline said, some people would lose their job if they didn't show up. And it's not easy on both parts. I totally get it. I've been on both parts or been on both sides. But I don't know. I just think it's really important that we try to create an environment. And, it's 2026. How can we not create an environment where a top performer is supported in a way where they can do both? So I know I'm really pounding on that. But Caroline, 4 kids, she talked about how it will get easier. Yes. And I echo that statement for all of the young moms listening to this. It will get easier. And I was also I had twins, so I had 2 babies and nip naps that were in the bathroom with me while I showered, right? So that I could actually shower, because if I left their sight, they were going to start crying. And so, yeah, that was part of my life for a while. And I think about it a lot often, and it was also beautiful to see those 2 babies staring up at me. And it doesn't last forever, because my babies are now, 23. And I still look back at those moments. And even though, like, you're physically tired, there's a stage you go through, right, where you're really just physically tired juggling the kids, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, 5, 6, 8. I do think then later it becomes like more emotional pull at you than physical, but the physical will pass. And it's just really important that you remember that, and you take care of your relationship so that you both remember that it will pass, and that these are the magic moments. So there's that song that is coming to mind. I'll think of it. I will think of it before we're done. But I used to listen to that a lot when I would start, I don't know, stressing out or tired, or thinking I wasn't, it's called "You're Gonna Miss This." Yeah, listen to that song if you're a young mom and there's dirty dishes in the kitchen sink, and you had to wear a ponytail in the morning. I don't know about you, but I used to put my hair in a ponytail in the morning. Couldn't wear earrings. My earrings had to go on at work, or they would be ripped out, ponytail up, and then I would actually do my hair in the parking lot of work. So you do what you got to do, and I loved every minute of it, absolutely every minute of it. You know what I love that Caroline said? You can have it all. It's a pretty bold statement, right? And some people might not like that. But I know what she's saying, because I feel like I had it all in a lot of ways too. And what it takes is yes, I mean, I guess the big thing is she was at the right place, right? And they supported her having it all. I also think, though, and you could probably pick up on the vibe with Caroline, like, she expected to have it all. And, you know, she said that maybe her no wasn't as strong in the beginning and it got stronger after kids. I think had the firm not supported her in her journey, you know, she would have left, because she would have found a place that did support her in having it all. And that's a mindset, right? That's possibly her upbringing. You know, we didn't get to talk too much about her family and any female role models that, you know, she had in her world. I'm sure she did, though, where, and again, if you know Caroline, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She just exudes this energy, this chi, this grounded presence. She's a bright light, you know, like you can feel her presence. I'm sure if you work in the office with her, you can feel if she's in the office. And she brings that light to everywhere she goes. And, you know, she said she had to grow into realizing her value. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think that happens a lot for all of us, that may be something you grow into. But I also think it's like the chicken or the egg, right? Which came first? Did she attracted that firm in some way, and then she made sure she was a rock star at that firm, and then the firm was smart enough to not let her go, right? And so she put a lot of that out into the universe of, I'm going to have it all, and I'm going to, you know, give my all, and I'm going to, you know, execute at work, and I'm going to have good results, and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to be, you know, with my family. So there's something to be said about really breathing into that and making sure that we're doing that, making sure that we're, and you know, you're going so fast, gosh, especially when, you know, in the phase of the young kids where you're going so fast, and it is hard to find that time to breathe and ground in and remember who you are, and go out for that walk, you know, at night with your music. Never going to underestimate the power of music. You're going to hear me talk a lot about that. Like, if you don't have music in your life anymore and you used to, get it back in your life. I don't care like how you got to do that. Like, I ended up buying some expensive Bose speakers because I just wanted the sound quality better, and brought music, you know, back into my life, whether it's while I'm showering or getting ready in the morning. And, you know, I talk a lot about, we built a playlist from all the ladies from the podcast on the songs they listen to remind themselves of who they are or how they power up. So please listen to that. That's also on Spotify. But finding a way to stay your authentic frequency, you know, I do want to keep talking about frequencies, because more and more is coming out about that, and more technology. And, you know, when you are authentically you are radiating a frequency that people want to be around, right? And makes things happen around you. And there's times where either A, we're so busy running around taking care of other people, and we're not grounding in our frequency, because you got to do it every morning, right? Probably every morning, every night. Sometimes in the middle of the day when you're not feeling yourself, you got to get back into your body. And then also, I'll speak for myself, but often I get trapped in my head and start overthinking things, or some things playing out in my head over and over and over again. And I will just visually see myself breathe into my heart, right? To get myself into my body, and to breathe all the way down to my toes and then into the earth, and really just ground myself back in to make sure I'm sending out that frequency that I want to send out, right? Because that's what's going to come back to me. So maybe we'll bring Caroline back and talk a little bit more about before the kids and before the career, and how she walked into her career. Like who was that young woman that walked in the door, and what was she carrying with her that was able to stay for 18 years? I think that would be cool. And it's funny that we didn't talk about it, because I ask almost all my guests that question, and it's kind of so perfect, because when you're in it with like 4 young children, you're not even thinking about that you anymore, the you before them. You are so immersed, because you have to be, right? That you're not even thinking about all that. You don't really have time to. And maybe that's again when we talk about later on in life as a woman, when you go through phases and you have you start having more time to watch all the puzzle pieces and how they played out, and who you were when you walked in the door and who you are when you walk out. Yeah, so we'll learn more about Caroline and how she carries that energy. So, one things we talked about is listening to your body, right? And were there warning signs if something was wrong or something was, changing? And I love hearing, for each of the women, they do have something that they can feel when things are starting to get out of alignment. And the faster you catch it, right, the better. So I referenced a study that was done, and I found it so I could talk about it real quick. But, everyone uses the word somatic a lot, and it just so used that I was starting to get desensitized to it. But, somatic is just basically that you carry your emotions in your body, and your body has an intelligence on its own, and it's here to protect you, and it loves you, and its whole job is honestly to protect you and be the vehicle for you to have the experiences on this planet. And it's always talking to you, but we sometimes get a little disconnected from it. I know I got really disconnected from it. And this study that just sticks with me, and I found it. So it was called the Iowa Gambling Tasks Experiment, and it was a somatic marker hypothesis. And what it was is they took a bunch of people and they put the electrodes on them so that they could measure like bodily sweats, how things changed in their body, things that would change before you would physically know, that it was changing. And they had 4 decks of cards, and 2 of the decks of cards were rigged in a way that you would win in this game. Like it was like if you turn the card over, you would get that amount of money or benefits or whatever, and if you turn over a different card, you would lose that kind of money. And they played this out, and 2 cool things happened. The first one was that people did eventually figure out which decks, right, were going to be the ones that had a positive outcome. But it took them a lot longer to figure out than what the electrodes were firing off, what the body was telling them. The body figured out which decks were the negative decks of cards way before the mind did and the person did. Like, isn't that so powerful? So powerful. And the more like you honor that and you listen to those somatic responses of your body, you have a partner, right? You have a partner in life that's giving you some warning signals before anything has to even go bad. So that sticks with me. Look up that experiment. They talk about it a little bit better than I did, but you just can't get past the fact that the body is protecting you, right? And that when I say that, it feels really powerful to me. And also I get a little sad about how much we beat up our bodies, what we put into them, and what they're exposed to, and how hard they're working for us 24/7. But, know that the more you can connect with your body and you can honor the somatic responses and get this energy moving. Caroline talked about sometimes it's just getting your body moving, and I so agree with that. It doesn't even matter, and it's going to change with your life, so let it change, right? We talk a lot about that, but if it's just going for a walk now, or if it's dancing, or if it's wall Pilates, or it's yoga, or it's calisthenics, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The body needs to move. It needs to flow, and it will carry things for you for a little while. But if you don't get it out of your body, it's going to store it, and then it's going to start hurting itself, right? So the faster we can just really acknowledge that the body is our partner in this lifetime and take care of it in whatever way we can, and make that a priority, even while we're giving care to everyone around us, just to add us to that list, right? To add yourself to the list of people that you're taking care of. So I'm probably gonna wrap it up here. I think Caroline, is an outlier. She's definitely playing the long game of leadership. And she's found a way to know. She has a partnership with her firm, right? She knows what they need and what they value. She's good at it, and she can bring it. And clearly the firm has found a way to make it work with her also. So if you're a leader in a company and you have a say, step up and take care of the great employees that are also trying to raise a great family. Be a part of their village, right? Be a part of their village. You should take pride in that as a leader, when you can create a corporate environment that works like that. And I still see tenure as a kudos. It's like a badge of honor if when a company has top performers that are staying around, they figured something out, right? And I hope other firms can learn from them. And to all the young moms out there making it happen, you're doing a great job. It's hard, right? It's hard. And you're going to do it anyways. Period, right? And it'll be worth every minute of it. And I'm going to thank you for putting the time in and raising a great family and being present for your kids and not bailing out on them, and being the one that stays and gets up every morning and takes care of them, because it's a thankless job for a little while. But I do think that comes around too when the kids are older, and then sometimes when they're older and you just see what amazing people they are, you start patting yourself on the back. But when you're in it, and Caroline's in it right now, right? 4 young children, she's in it. So to all of you that are running around with the kiddos, thank you for all you're doing. Reach out, ask for help from the right people. Some people might say no, that's fine. You'll find your people, but you do have to start asking for help. And please keep taking care of yourself and your body, because you won't be able to give to others unless you take care of yourself. And you hear that over and over and over on this podcast. Every single woman has said that. And so if you still need more convincing, here's another one, right? So take care of yourself too, because the world needs you, and your kids need you, and your family needs you. Thanks again to Caroline Organ. I loved spending time with you. And thank you to all the listeners for being here with me and letting me share my reflections on the things that Caroline triggered in me and made me think about. I hope it triggered some things in you also. That is the goal of this podcast. So thank you for being with me. And I'll see you next time. Take care.